It's not often that the Browns-Steelers rivalry, the Browns-Steelers game, takes a backseat, quite frankly, to a lot of different storylines going on with this team, right? Who's coming back from injury? Who's going to be playing quarterback? Is Baker going to be healthy? Should Baker play even if he wants to play this week? All of those questions are kind of hopping up right now as the Browns return from their mini bye, but it's still Browns Steelers. And is this a game that the Cleveland Browns should win? Well, let's talk about it. Before I do, I want to make sure I give a shout out to the patreon.com Dog Check tier members. And I'm going to start with Michael Matique, Cam Vex, Jaleel Salim Jr. and Sr., Caleb Pickering, Benjamin Woods, Michael Terry, Sam28, Wani Boy, Rob Morehouse, Tyler Chiz, Michael Morales, Mark Kahn, Max Haymaker, Nick Merrick, D.A.J., Joe Hart, Gabriel Wilson, Fred Pat III, David Valtiar, Relentless Buck, Rex Kaufman, Kevin Johnson, Cleveland Cart, Matt H., Sign Sheets, Gemini, Leon Freeman, Fight 3074, Chunt, Yo-Yo, Matt Lloyd, Paul Wilcox, Hondo Magnifico, Cal Stoffer, Lukey from Munich, Dave Roth, J-Guy101, Musty Taco, Brad Cowbo, Dylan W., James McGinley, Arendal, Chad Gimme, David Maldonado, Josh Spindor, Austin Rich, Mark M., Stuart Moore, Dylan Hill, Cleveland BCI, Robert Germain, Dave Mike May, Andrew Hirsch, Curtis Bear, Batman, Barack Kumar, John Albert, Beerman069, Masayua, Butts Roland, Mac House, Reeve Hertz, Philip Wilcoxon, Marie Vivert, Sean Barron, Goggles Pisano, Dom Gazzulo, Nick Nasty, Ian Whitaker, Colin 216, Christian, Dave Strong, Michael Stone, Soul Train, Billy, Moose Gentry, Austin Z, Mark Burnett II, Andre Griffin, Otis Wolf, Dog Pound Kai, Greg Ehlers, Austin Bolin, Lydia Mahawk, Alexander Davis, Chris Falms, Picktown Browns backer, Max Nilakenko, Max Al Dojo, and Water Bear Marketing. Again, guys, thank you so much for your support. It means a ton to me. Now let's jump into the video. It's no secret that health has been an issue for the Cleveland Browns. It's also been an issue for a lot of other teams around the league, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are not a team that's shy of that. They have a lot of guys on their defensive line on IR. They have Juju Smith-Schuster on IR. You know, the Browns have injuries, significantly more injuries, I would say, and like more significant injuries, like the starting quarterback for Pittsburgh, whether it's better or worse, is still out there. But let's start talking about this matchup by talking about the Browns' defensive matchup versus the Steelers' offense. Okay, so we know that the Pittsburgh Steelers' offense is not good. I'm not like being a troll when I say that. Like, it's legitimately not good. It has not been good for about 2 years now. It is what it is. They can't run the ball well. They throw the ball well sometimes, but they can't really do it with consistency. The offensive line hasn't been good. Let's kind of break down why they're not good, what they're not good at, what they are kind of okay at, and where they could give the Browns some trouble. So when it comes to Ben, he has the third lowest time to throw in the NFL. Now, part of that is because they don't really trust the offensive line, and neither does he, so he just gets rid of it quickly. But another part of that is because he just gets rid of the ball quickly now. That doesn't mean that he's not going to hold on to the ball too long from play to play. It just means the vast majority of his throws are quick throws. There will be times where Ben tries to stretch the ball downfield, and he is going to hang on to that thing till forever, and you can pry it from him. You can get a sack, a strip sack, or a fumble or interception from him. That's where he tends to make a lot of his mistakes. But in general, he gets rid of the ball quickly. He's only been pressured on about 22% of his dropbacks, which is pretty low. So that's kind of the story with Big Ben. The offensive line is not great. It's better at pass blocking when you look at the numbers than it is run blocking, although I don't think they're good at either. And Ben will go deep. Like, I'll give him that. He will go deep. He technically, when it comes to attempts past 20 yards, goes deep just as much as Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield have this season. So he will go deep. He will try deep. The quality of those tries, though, has greatly decreased over the years. A lot of those tries are just him flicking that ball up in the middle of the field, just kind of on YOLO. The numbers would suggest that Ben is doing these things very strategically, but if you watch him, it doesn't feel very strategic. Run blocking, on the other hand, it's just been flat bad. I know they drafted Najee Harris. I know that was supposed to solve a lot of the run game issues, and to a point it has. Najee is a first-class running back talent. He is legitimately going to be really good in this league, but the run blocking's still awful. It's not good. If you look at PFF, they have one guy, and I think that's Trey Turner, over 50% or over a 50 grade on PFF when it comes to run blocking. It's bad. And when you think about the Steelers offense, this is the best analogy I could come up to describe what the Steelers offense is right now. The Steelers offense is like having a luxury sports car in an area of town where they only have dirt roads. In essence, the Steelers have some very, very nice offensive pieces. Najee Harris, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, all very nice, very talented, very exotic pieces that you can add to your offense. Any guy would want that on their offense, or anybody or on their team would want that on their offense. But they just simply don't have the proper infrastructure to use any of it, right? If you live on a dirt road and you got the nicest Ferrari or Corvette or Porsche in town, it really doesn't matter because you ain't going 160 on a dirt road. And if you do, you're going to spin out. That's kind of exactly where the Pittsburgh offense is. They got some nice pieces, but if they tried to go 160 right now, they're going to crash and fall because they just don't have any of the infrastructure to do anything with it. The Browns should be able to get pressure with Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. They should be able to attack the shorter stuff. So in some respects, it's going to be like playing Teddy Bridgewater. I do have some concerns, just like last week, not having JOK. How's that going to affect your ability to crash down because he's your best guy in that area of the field? But I don't think that my concerns are so large that it affects their ability to get the job done. I also have deep ball concerns. I'm going to just hope that this is going to be the case in this game, that it's going to be partly that they figured some things out during the mini bye, and partly Ben Roethlisberger not being the most accurate quarterback downfield, despite him wanting to go downfield quite often. So a little bit of both there I'm hoping for here. I could see a world where the Steelers can get the offense going against the Browns, but I just don't think it's super likely. I think I like the Browns matchup. I actually do like the Browns matchup here against the Steelers offense. Now let's talk about the Browns offense matchup versus this defense. Offensively, health seems to be at an uptick for this team, right? Baker, Jack Conklin, Nick Chubb all return to practice. You had Jarvis Landry return and play on Thursday Night Football. You feel good offensively about the guys that you're going to start to get back healthy, right? If Baker's not back this week, it seems like he'll probably be back next week. The Steelers' defense, on the other hand, has struggled to tackle. On one hand, it's one thing, and defend the run, which is shocking. But when you see the Steelers have 4 interior defensive linemen, 2 of those being critical guys that they use in their run sets, it makes a lot more sense. Steelers still a very good edge rushing unit, right? They still got TJ Watt, they got Mark Ingram, they got Melvin Ingram, Highsmith, Hayward. Like they're still going to be able to rush the passer at a pretty high level. But everything else about that defense has just been a gigantic question mark. Devin Bush, Joe Schobert, and CJ Spillane, that linebacker combo, I think it's safe to say up to this point of the year has underperformed, especially given that Joe Schobert has an expensive deal that you traded for. And Devin Bush, man, like you traded up for him. You spent a top 10 pick on a linebacker, and you know how I am with linebackers. If you take one in the first round, that's okay. But they should be like that dude right away. There shouldn't be a lot of guessing. Like linebackers, one of those positions that if you draft in the first round, you don't get a ton of grace. You don't get a ton of time to let a player develop because usually it don't happen like that. That position has a high bust rate and also has a high hit rate later on in the draft. So that's looking like a little bit of a miss there for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially given how much they gave up to get him. The corner play also not been great for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. It is kind of like what I talked about with the Browns, where the offensive line play was leaking into the play calling, and the play calling was leaking into the quarterback, and the quarterback's leaking into the wide receiver, and you just have this whole leaking situation with a whole unit that's preventing it from performing at a high level. It's the same thing for the Steelers defense, right? The defensive line is fine, but the corner play and the linebacking play, it's starting to leak into the safety play, and it's really affecting this team's ability to cover. It doesn't look like their corners have been playing great. Joe Hayden finally looks like he's starting to age there. They have exactly one corner with more than 10 targets on that team that has lower than a 70% catch percentage. And that one guy is James Pierre, and he's at 65%. So not great numbers there in that secondary. They haven't tackled well, which has led to a ton of big plays on them. It stinks, right? If you can pass rush, that's great. But if your secondary can't cover, it really doesn't help you out much, especially when they're giving up such a high percentage of passes on every level. It just leaves you in a terrible situation if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers on that defense, and it kind of kills what you have with their pass rush. So what do I think the Browns are going to do offensively to attack the Steelers defense? I think this is going to be a game where you attack them short, try to get downhill early. I think the ideal is going to be to try to tire the pass rush out early in this game by misdirecting and screening and running often and just trying to tire out that front, right? Tire out TJ Watt. Get them a little tired. Long drives early. Get them a little tired. And then once they're tired, you can hold on to the ball a little bit longer, take some shots, and really attack the secondary that has been struggling. When it comes to a specific player that I think is going to be the main focus of the Browns game plan offensively, I would look at Jarvis Landry. I think they move him around, get him the ball in some very specific situations where he's either lined up with a linebacker or Cam Sutton, who has been one of the worst tacklers in football, 26.7 missed tackle percentage. Jarvis Landry, one of the better yak guys in the NFL. So get those two lined up, give Jarvis the ball short, and allow Jarvis to attack him and see if Cam can tackle him. Those are going to be the things that I expect Kevin Stefanski and this team to do. And this is a game that the Browns should win, whether it's Case Keenum or Baker Mayfield. I don't think my opinion changes on who should be able to win this game. This isn't a game where I think the limitations of Case Keenum would really affect the team to the point to where they could not win this football game. So whoever it is at quarterback, right now it's a toss-up between Case Keenum and Baker Mayfield because Baker did practice, but he was limited. So we'll see what happens as the week goes on. As of right now, I'm not too pressed over the quarterback position because as of right now for this game specifically, not next week's game, but this game, I think Case Keenum could be enough to win this game. But that's my thoughts on this week's game. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And again, guys, have a great day and have a good night.